When night falls over the desolate lands of southern Mexico, an eerie stillness grips the rivers and forests. Under the pale moonlight, a gentle wind rustles through the grasses, weaving through tree trunks as if whispering something forbidden, things that should never be heard. In the riverside villages along the winding Magdalena, people bolt their doors early. No one steps outside after sunset. No one dares to linger near the riverbank. And everyone knows, if one night you hear a woman's cry, the only thing you can do is pray. The cry is unlike any other sound. Not a soft sob, not a lonely call. It is raw, heart-wrenching, wailing, erupting in despair, carried on the wind like a summons from the beyond. Witnesses say it begins from far off as an echo from a distant hill, then suddenly bursts beside your ear. I see is the breath of the dead. Ay, mis hijos, oh my children, those who have heard it say their hearts stop for just a moment, as though the air around them thickens and congeals, heavy with the scent of morning. Some are mesmerized, emerging from their homes like sleepwalkers, drifting toward the river without knowing. Others are yanked from their beds, their legs no longer under their control, and some never return. The legend calls her La Llorona, weeping woman, a white apparition wandering the waterways, her long hair shrouding her face. Moonlight glimmers off a water-soaked gown, caked with mud, as though she has just emerged from the riverbed. Her face, if anyone has the courage to look, is not human. It's a twisted reflection of pain and hate, with deep hollow eyes and endless tears streaming down. No one knows who she was, or if she ever truly existed, but everyone knows the tale passed down through the years. It is said that La was once a beautiful woman betrayed by the man she loved. In a fit of rage and sorrow, she drowned her 2 children, and then, realizing the inescapable horror she had committed, threw herself into the river, burdened forever by guilt and grief. Since that day, her spirit could not rest. She became bound to the riverbanks, forever searching, forever calling for children who no longer exist. In her madness, she confuses anyone near the water for her children. Or worse, she drags anyone with her, thinking they should share in her pain. The village elders warn, if you hear the cry, do not answer, do not step outside. Do not seek the sound, and above all, never look into her eyes. For once you see her, she will never let you go. In villages near the Magdalena, candles are lit each night. Children are taught to stay away from the river. Adults carry an unspeakable fear, a haunting that never fades, because they know she is still out there, still wandering through the mist, still crying in the night breeze. And she is searching for her lost children. No one knows how many times she appears. No one counts the people who vanish after her cry. But one thing is certain, some escape and bring tales that leave listeners sleepless. One of the most chilling stories comes from an 8-year-old boy named Ernesto. It was a sultry summer night, and he couldn't sleep because of crickets chirping and water flowing outside his window. His home sat near a small stream feeding into the Magdalena, and his mother always warned, never go out if you hear someone calling at night. That night, however, Ernesto heard something far stranger, a woman's whispering voice, faint and tender, like a lullaby. The tone was clear but strained, trapped by unnamed pain. My dear, I am here. Mother, the boy climbed out the window. Under the silver moonlight, through a thin mist, there stood a woman in white by the stream, her back turned. Her long dark hair swayed, her dress fluttered in the breeze. Despite all warnings, Ernesto stepped out. Only a few paces, and the woman turned around. Her face had no eyes, just 2 black voids, like gates to an abyss. Her teeth gleamed white in a cruel knife-scarred smile. Without shouting or moving, she glided forward, swift as a cold gust. Ernesto screamed and fell. That's when Ernesto's father rushed outside. The woman vanished like she'd never existed. Ernesto survived, but he was never the same. He spoke only in whispers when asleep. Don't cry. Mother, don't cry anymore. Another man, Felipe, was a long-haul truck driver, traveling by night. Through the jungle near the river, one midnight, crossing an old bridge, his engine died. He exited the truck to check, but he heard running water close by, even though no river flowed beneath the bridge. Then a whisper brushed his ear from behind. Help me. My child is drowning. He turned but saw no one. Suddenly, his headlights flickered, and he glimpsed a white figure standing in the road ahead. His eyes locked on her. He could not look away, until a freezing hand gripped his shoulder from behind. Philippe doesn't recall what happened next. The next morning, he was found unconscious by the roadside, his truck idling. Despite warm weather, his body was cold. Strangely, tired treads with child-sized footprints circled around the wheels. It's not just adults. Children bear witness, too. A girl in Jalisco once told her mother that a woman in white came to her window nightly, inviting her out to play, saying the river is beautiful. It has glowing fish, she said. She is sad. She needs a friend. Thankfully, her mother believed her and evacuated the town that very night. No one knows why some see La Llorona and others do not. Perhaps she senses a sorrow in a soul, or curiosity leads some to see her. Or maybe she chooses those whose grief resembles hers, those who have loved and lost in agony. A strange pattern emerges. All survivors who have seen La Llorona share the same trait: their eyes lose their former light. as if part of their soul has been pulled into the rivered echoes and cries. In Spanish, La Llorona means the weeping woman, but that's only surface. Beneath the name lies a bloody tragedy and a curse spanning centuries. There are many versions of her origin story, but the most common names her Maria, a colonial-era woman of humble means, famed for her gentle beauty and haunting voice. One day, she caught the eye of a wealthy Spanish nobleman, already married. He showered her with gifts and promises of wealth. Against all caution, Maria fell in love, abandoning her family and honor. She bore his 2 children. But like many tragedies, the nobleman treated her as a pastime. When his wife discovered the affair, abandonné Maria, returning to Europe. No support. Shamed, rejected, and betrayed, Maria collapsed into sorrow. Worse, she learned that the nobleman planned to take her children along to wed another wealthy woman, claiming he wouldn't have his children raised by a disgraceful mother. In a fit of madness, Maria dragged her children to the riverbank where he had once promised to build her a house. When night fell, she embraced the children and drowned them until their cries ceased, and all that remained was the sound of waves lapping the stones. At that moment, Maria realized the horror of her deed. She wept and tried to lift them from the water. But it was too late. Maria then threw herself into the river too, bound forever to the grief she could not undo. Her body washed ashore the next morning, clutching a piece of her youngest son's garment. From that point, no one dared near the river at night. Indeed, the wailing from beneath the water began. A fleeting figure in white drifted along the banks, calling for children long gone. Centuries passed, but La Llorona did not fade. Her legend traveled from Mexico to Central America, then into the American South. Each region has its twist. In Guatemala, she wears a black shawl and abducts misbehaving children. In Venezuela, she appears as winds howl through mountain gaps, cursing travelers to wander forever. In Texas, she waves at the curious by the Rio Grande, then drags them into the depths. Into her endless despair, some believe La Llorona is not merely a lone spirit, but a symbol for oppressed, abandoned souls, particularly women and children, silenced by injustice. Her cries are not just for her own lost children, but for all suffering tragedies that history refuses to remember. Yet for many locals, La Llorona is no metaphor. They believe she truly exists. And each midnight sob is a summons from hell not to harm, but to reclaim what is lost. Children, souls, or perhaps a forgiveness that will never come. Some say La Llorona is no longer just searching for her own children, but for anyone who might fill their place, because that pain will never end.